Hello and welcome. I see on your screen you've reached the informational webinar for the upcoming program at Northwestern Kellogg Executive Education. This program is Mastering Sales, a Toolkit for Success. And here on the session over the course of the next hour, two keynote subject matter experts here to tell us all about this program. Firstly, we have here with us Craig Wortman, who's a clinical professor of innovation and entrepreneurship, as well as the academic director of the Kellogg Sales Institute. We're so pleased and honored to have you here with us today, Professor Wortman. Would you like to jump in and say hello?
I would, Marie. Thanks so much. And I'm so excited for y'all to be here. It's just a pleasure to be with you. As Marie says, we have much to cover. We're going to have some fun and mix it up. So please ask questions, jump in the chat, and we'll try to tackle everything as well as we can. Thanks for being here.
And thank you, Professor Wortman, as well. That is a taste for what's to come. We're going to be hearing a lot more from Professor Wortman here in just a moment. He is joined by his colleague, Claire Walker. She's the Executive Director of Kellogg Sales Institute at Northwestern University. Claire, would you like to hop on and say hello as well?
Yes, thanks, Marie. This is so much fun. I think I'm wearing the exact outfit I'm wearing in that headshot picture. So at least
great plan. That's preparation. I love it.
So consistency is key. Team.
Absolutely, Claire. Very well said and aptly spoken. As we think about this journey, here's what we're going to be doing here today. We're going to start with an introduction, and I'm going to hand it over back to Claire to take us through the next couple of slides here. Thanks again for being here, both of you.
So what we are going to do from here is we are going to do a quick purpose benefit check. A purpose benefit check is something that you will become very familiar with as we start every webinar with this practice, as well as every module, every episode of Mastering Sales begins with the discipline of a purpose benefit check. I'm going to brag on Craig for a couple of minutes, make him really uncomfortable. And then I'm going to take you through the look and the feel of the course. What does it mean to be a student in Mastering Sales? You know, for many of you, this may be your first Emeritus course. It may be your first online certification course entirely. So I want to make sure you feel comfortable with what you're diving into. And then speaking of diving into, I'm going to pass it over to my partner in crime, Craig, and he's going to give a great overview of all of the episodes, you know, what we take away from each step of Mastering Sales as we take you through the entrepreneurial selling process. All right, so purpose benefit check. The purpose benefit check answers, what are we doing? What are we going to get out of it? And how does that sound? Are we in agreement? So that's a quick overview of what this tool is. And today, our purpose in coming together is just to share as much as we can about this course that we are so excited about and get you as excited as we are. What are we going to get out of it? Ideally, you are going to feel armed with all the information you need to hit that register button and share this, the possibility of taking this course with colleagues or friends of yours. And you will feel ready when this course starts to really jump into the deep end with us. And, you know, how does that sound, Craig?
That sounds great. Let's do it. Love it.
All right, let's do it. Okay, here is where I brag on Craig, I believe. So let's pop over to that one. Oh, no, first I brag on Kellogg.
Good.
So, team, we are not blind to the fact that there are a lot of online sales courses that you could be choosing from. It would be silly of us to pretend that was not the case. But this has the Northwestern University advantage. Here we are backed by the full strength of the Kellogg School of Management, the bedrock of research, the thought leadership that we bring to you. One thing that I feel it differentiates Kellogg is that the professors who teach our working professionals are the same professors who teach our degree-seeking students. There's no differentiation. So students who are looking to get their MBA are learning from Craig just as much as you are. So there's no differentiation here. It's something we strongly believe in. And so while we know that there's a lot out there, we think ours is the best and we want to prove it to you. All right, now, Craig, you can start to leave frame.
Okay, I'm going to go downstairs.
All right, team. So there's about 1,000 bullet points worth of accolades here, and read through those at your leisure. But what I really want you to know about Craig as you hop off this webinar in about an hour is that he is a lifelong seller himself. And so he is not just teaching this stuff, he is doing this stuff day in, day out. He is well aware of the challenges being faced by sellers. He is aware of how excited you get when you secure that deal. And the skills and disciplines that he is going to teach throughout this course are skills and disciplines he is continuing to work on himself. The other thing I'd really want you to know about Craig is that he often says he has yet to see the bottom of this thing we call sales, which means that he is constantly learning. This is not someone who is one and done. He doesn't think I've got this. He is reading new books. He is learning new tools. He is taking on new perspectives and bringing those to bear. So this will feel current, it will feel fresh, and you're learning from someone who sells himself, not someone who is far apart. And that's why this is not theoretical. This is practical stuff that is going to make the difference right away. All right, let's jump into the look and feel of the course. All right, okay. So what we do is every week you are going to get a new lesson that drops. So it's a new episode for your mastering sales journey. And within this episode, there's a confluence of videos that share frameworks and lessons from Craig and some amazing guest stars, and associated assignments that really leverage what you've learned in the videos and allow you to apply those big, broad frameworks to your daily sales motion. So every week, the episode is about 90 minutes worth of videos, but don't worry, it's broken up into nice short blocks. You can take it as you go. It runs 1 week, and we always cross over a weekend. So if your weekdays are really busy or really crunched, this means that you may want to take the time to either talk to your manager about incorporating some of this learning into your daily work week, or talk to the people you spend your weekend with, your family, your children, your partner, and talk about how you're going to need to set a couple hours aside to make sure that you make the most of this investment. So yes, every episode you're going to get some really high energy videos and some really great assignments that generally come in the form of tools, our tool worksheets. There are a couple assignments where we ask you to practice what we are teaching. We are firm believers in practice at the Kellogg Sales Institute. We believe that if you aren't practicing with yourself or with your colleagues, you are practicing on your customers, and we don't want you to do that. So one thing to note is that you will not be taking this journey by yourself. You will be side by side with a team that we call your program leaders. And these program leaders are sellers in some of the world's top enterprise companies. They also have been parts of startups where they are running their own revenue machine with an untested product. They're and everywhere in between. So these program leaders they're like teacher's assistants or supplemental faculty in a way. They have been taught by Craig, they have been vetted by Craig, and they have helped us shape this course since it dropped at the end of 2019. We have really learned a ton from these program leaders. So they will be side by side with you in your learning journey, helping you out in discussion boards, helping you, providing weekly live office hours to help you complete assignments or right size some of what you've learned to your work, your daily work. So all to say, you're going to hear from Craig, you're going to hear from me, but you're also going to hear from a really nice, diverse slate of perspectives from people who also are selling day in, day out.
And Claire, if I could just add to that, Claire said it well, you all. These folks are experts in their own right. And one of the many things that's so fun about this course is we hear from the thousands of students who have been part of this experience, and they give such positive feedback to these experts, these program leaders. So and Claire's right. We learn together. We all are learning this craft, this art and science of sales together. And so we can hardly wait for you to meet these people.
Absolutely. Thanks. I'm so glad you hopped in. They come from Salesforce, Microsoft, Google, these brand new startups where they are the sales team, just really cool stuff. All right. And if we want to hop on ahead, In addition to the pre-recorded content that drops in the episodes, you're also going to be able to interact with Craig just like this. We launched a series called our Mastering Sales Book Club. One thing to note right away, the books clubs do not represent extra reading or extra homework. It is not mandatory assignments. It is merely an opportunity for us to bring to you a book that has really influenced the way we think about doing our work. Whether it is Mindset by Carol Dweck or The Power of Moments by Chip and Dan Heath, a pair of brothers who have a lot to say about my favorite new phrase, the soul-sucking force of reasonableness. We go deeper into stories with Annette Simmons and the Story Factor. So there's a ton of opportunity for us to bring new, relevant, fresh perspectives from books that we're reading today. And we wanted the opportunity to do that. So that is what typically a book club is comprised of. We also capstone it with something we call selling in a virtual world, where we take all of the skills and disciplines that you have collected and add into your toolkit throughout this course and overlay it and talk about how they apply to this new normal. I mean, guys, Zoom meetings, Microsoft Teams meetings, Hangouts meetings are not going away. We're going to be selling over the computer, so let's figure out how to differentiate ourselves every single time. So I mentioned that some in the lessons, in the episodes that drop, you're not only going to hear from Craig, we also have some just incredible guest stars. And man, do these people really bring their perspective to bear here. You know, Helen Calvin here talks about what she looks for when she's hiring salespeople, something that will help you as you approach your next promotion or your next job. Jim McAvoy might be the best lead generator we know. And he's going to give us a masterclass in cold calling, something that people try to avoid, but is still relevant. You still have to be good at it. Suzanne Muchin talks about how there's this misconception that extroverts make the best sellers. And she talks about what it's like to sell in a room as an introverted female. So something like that. And then of course, we've got best-selling author Dan Pink. He just released a book all about regrets. I think my favorite book of his is To Sell is Human. Talks about how much selling we're doing day in, day out. And then we also hear from Dynamo Thomas Stovall and our fellow professor, Andrew Sykes, who's going to model the good and the bad of objection handling. So again, it's not just Craig. We brought in practitioners of sales from a variety of industries, a variety of perspectives. We really wanted to give you as much as we possibly could in this course. And we're going to move. Yep, there we go. Okay, so what makes this program different? This goes back again to the fact of the matter that there has been a proliferation of online courses, especially during the pandemic. There is no lack of competition. We would be silly not to acknowledge that. But here's where we would submit that we are different. One, we start with mindset, and we never lose sight of what mindset you have to adopt as a learner in this course and as a seller of ideas, of products, of solutions, of yourself. So we talk a lot about the role that mindset has to play. Two, you will come away from this course with a personally developed sales toolkit. And these tools are immediately applicable and they are evergreen, which means that you can do work via these tools that are going to enhance the next customer conversation you have, but also in 20 years when you're selling something that hasn't even been invented yet, you can use the prompts from these tools to make sure that you are delivering customer value in each and every interaction. As I mentioned at the outset, you are learning from someone who sells himself. So we didn't want this to feel theoretical or far apart from what you're doing. What you learn in this course can be immediately applied. Week 1, there will be something you can use right away. Week 10, there's a lot more in your toolkit, all which can be used. So we're so excited. And then we really aimed this course at making sellers who are magnetic and unstoppable. That's what we want out of this course. So again, we acknowledge that there is a broad range out here. We fully believe that you can come away from this course being 10 times better than you are today. I'm not going to read this slide. That would be silly. But needless to say, if you are someone seeking a sales job, if you are selling today, if you are looking for a promotion, if you are a leader of sellers, this is for you. And then I mentioned earlier that this is something that you can share with your teams. There is so much power in taking this program as a team. You just scale the impact in a way that is pretty immeasurable. You all start speaking the same language around the skills and disciplines that you learned in this course. You practice with each other. You create a community where practice makes it permanent, right, Craig?
That's right. Practice. There's no perfect. Practice makes permanent.
And of course, when you all know what good looks like, you can aspire and inspire each other to get there, really coach each other. So just have to say, if you're thinking about taking this with your team, we would highly encourage it. Then we wouldn't make you do all this work without something tangible to brag about. We have people all over LinkedIn who have shared their certificate after completing this course. And the response is so joyous on their behalf. People just love that they've taken the time to invest in themselves. So you get a certificate from the Kellogg School of Management when you complete this course. So all of the goodness of becoming an amazing, magnetic, unstoppable seller, plus a certificate. All right, I think it's time to kick it over to Craig.
How was this started? So let's answer that question first. Thanks for asking. So this course was started. Claire and I got together with our team at the Kellogg Sales Institute and some of our faculty at Kellogg. And we decided to build this course to reach out all over the world to help people become elite sellers. That is our mission at the Kellogg Sales Institute. Our mission is to change the way the world thinks about sales. And the next thing we had to do is define what is sales? What does it actually mean? And our definition of sales is very simple. It's helping people make progress in their lives, period. The origin story of this course is we said to ourselves, right now, our audience is MBA and executive MBA students and the large companies that we are lucky enough to work with that come to Kellogg want to access our faculty. Claire's mentioned a bunch: LinkedIn, Google, John Deere, some of the world's largest companies in Asia, in Europe, and the United States, all over the world. So we said to ourselves, that is wonderful work. And there's a whole community of salespeople and people who want to be salespeople out in the world that we're not currently reaching. But yet we have all of this research and all of this capability, and we want to share it with the world. And so we partnered with this amazing team in Emeritus. And folks, I'm very proud to say that, Claire's talked a little bit about the fact that there's a lot of competition. I'm proud to share with you that our partners at Emeritus who run this course with Kellogg have told us this is the highest rated course on their platform amongst courses from MIT, Wharton, Columbia, some wonderful schools where I have many friends. And this is the highest rated course. So we have had thousands of participants go through this, and we are just super excited to share it with you. So let's dig. James, I hope that helps and answers the question. Let's talk about what this journey looks like. And there's a lot to look at here, but what we want you to see is that becoming an elite salesperson, becoming a leader of people, is about 3 stages: preparation, contact, and scale. And so what we always say is I started my career at IBM in sales. And one of the things that we learned very quickly about sales training out in the world is it's often focused on the contact piece. You're in front of a client, and that's wonderful because there's so many skills and disciplines you need to know in that contact phase. But we think about it much more holistically because we know that there's research about how well prepared we are to be effective in that moment. And there's research about what we do after we're with someone, how we follow up, how we scale ourselves as individuals, how we build teams, and how we scale our teams. And so we actually, the metaphor here is we stretch the sales process at both ends back in time to encompass preparation, where we talk about what is the pain that your customer is feeling? What are the gains they're trying to make in their lives, with their businesses, with their people? How might you crisply describe what you do to connect to those pains and gains? And as you now know, I spend a lot of time teaching innovation and entrepreneurship. And these things, sales and innovation and leadership and communications. So what we expand in the contact phase are all of the touch points of a sales process. And then think about this metaphor. So the process is linear, right? And then underneath it, underneath leads, underneath fit, underneath proposing, underneath closing, you've got all of this knowledge, skill, and discipline that we need to learn and do in front of customers. And then finally, we jump to the scale phase where we use this word very deliberately. We talk about love. How do you build a system and a process around yourself such that your clients, they don't like you, they love you? And we mean that they absolutely fall in love with your company, and you rise above the competition. You rise above the noise in the market. And then we talk about leading both yourself and your people and measuring everything you do. So that's the learning journey from preparation through contact into scale. And then we'll just unpack very briefly the modules. So we start with module 1. And module 1, I always smile when I think about this, because in any workshop, any MBA course, any online course that we've built, we talk about the pillars that we all stand on, the foundation of all human performance. And what is so fun about this course is we are very clear that if you want it to, this course will transform you. You will be 10 times better than you are right now at anything, including sales. And we do not take that lightly. I'm sure for some of you, you're looking at me funny and saying, come on, can that really be true? At Kellogg, we have something we call a difference between an opinion and a point of view. An opinion is whatever you want it to be. I have lots of opinions. A point of view has evidence. It is our point of view based on research that has emerged over the last 15 years on peak performance, that if you put your mind to it in the right way and you build knowledge along with skill and discipline, you can be 10 times better than you are right now. And as Claire suggested, we had an entrepreneur recently. This young man has built a company of 800 people. He was the founder. He now has 800 people in his company. He said, Craig, we thought you were absolutely full of it when you said we could be 10 times better. And he said, in 10 weeks, I can't believe how true that is. He said, this has changed the way our entire company goes to market. Folks, we've heard that story over and over and over again, but it begins with the foundation. It's not enough to know. One of the issues that I've had with sales education that I've had from wonderful companies like IBM and all the places I've been lucky to be is it's great, but it stops at knowledge. Knowledge is not enough. We have to apply knowledge. It's not enough to read a book about how to play chess. That doesn't make you a good chess master. Practice and development of skill and discipline make you a chess master or an elite athlete or a great parent or a wonderful partner or an amazing salesperson, where people fall in love with you in the sales process. So that's the foundation. It's the foundation of all influence, power, and persuasion. And I use power in the best sense of that term. Then we move to module 2, where we really start thinking about targeting. We start figuring out, how do we attack a week? The world's best salespeople, they plan ahead for their week and they put the big rocks in first. You've heard that metaphor. They put the big rocks in the glass first because they know they have serious stuff to do. And by the way, some of that stuff is hard. We're going to get to that in a second when we get to module 3, the hardest one, right? So we talk about, how do we map the stakeholders in an organization? How do we figure out those personas such that we can talk to them in customized ways that are meaningful to them? And how do we plan our week for success, including difficult conversations like talking about competitors? And one of the things that Claire said earlier, I want to just shine a light on. Not only does research make this course different, not only is the fact that we've been teaching MBAs and executive MBAs at a top 3 business school in the world make this course different, What makes this course different is we are tool builders. You walk out of here with over 30 tools. Every master carpenter has a lot of tools in her or his toolkit. Every elite athlete has tools, every artist, and so does every salesperson. And they're right at your fingertips. So a tool, for instance, is talking about your competition. When I say to you, hey, Ellen, I really like you and I like your company, but we're looking at XYZ competitor. What's the next words out of Ellen's mouth? That's a tool. She has a tool. She knows exactly what to say and do in that moment. That is knowledge, but it's actually the manifestation of knowledge in skill and discipline. So that's module 2. That's preparation. Now we move to module 3, we get into contact. So we're actually talking to people. And we have a guest speaker here, Jim McAvoy, as Claire mentioned. We really unpack the lead generation tactics that I've had to use and develop over my career. And I'm still learning, and I'm learning from folks like Jim, who we interviewed on camera. How do I write a breakthrough introductory email? How do I network with people at a conference? How do I make cold and warm calls such that people actually want to talk to me? They actually will take my call and then take my meeting, and I'm off and away into the sales process. We call this proactive pursuit, and it's packed with tools. You'll never look at a call the same way again. You may still feel those butterflies. I still do it when I make cold calls. I still feel that awkwardness, like, oh boy, I don't think Claire's going to want to talk to me, but I'm going to pick up the phone and call her, or I'm going to write her an email. But boy, have I got the tools. I know what to say, how to say it, when to say it. That's skill and discipline. So that's module 3. Claire, if we hop to module 4, we really start talking about something that sounds really boring, and it's actually one of the most popular things we teach at the business school and all over the world. Did this with Google the other night, did this with LinkedIn the other night. How to run a meeting. Doesn't that sound like the world's most boring topic? It's actually unbelievably interesting. Why? Because the world stinks at it. There's science on this. Again, we stand on, Chris, right? That we stand on this very powerful foundation, these pillars of knowledge, skill, and discipline. If you take my metaphor as pillars, you can tell I'm standing right now, these pillars go down into the earth that connect on the bedrock of the earth. That's research. What we know is true about communications, persuasion, influence, and power, the development of this magnetism. And one of the things that we talk about here is how can we use actually the structure of meetings to become magnetic? In other words, how might you design, Chris, Sir John, or any of you, how might you design your meetings such that on Friday night, when your customers and prospects are thinking about their busy, insane week, they think about your meeting? Folks, you can do this. You just have to decide. Craig, you have to decide to equip yourself with the skills and disciplines. Sorry, Claire, go ahead.
Oh, no, I think decide is exactly right, because like so much of what we teach in this course, this is not rocket science. This is a lot of what we teach around running high impact meetings, or later on in the course, we're going to talk about presenting with panache or asking better questions. So much of this is going to seem like common sense, but then you think, how many bad meetings am I sitting through? How many boring, forgettable presentations do I sit through? It's not a matter of knowing how to do better, it's deciding to do better. So it is a decision. It's not rocket science, but so few people activate best practices here. You can differentiate yourself by simply choosing to be better.
It's so well said. And it just looking at, module 4, it's just packed with life skills and disciplines. And one of the things that I want to say here that Claire and and Marie are always careful to say about this course is about becoming an elite seller. It's actually about your life. Like when you go home at night, you don't stop listening and asking questions. When you're with your parents, you don't stop listening, asking questions. You can develop those skills such that those relationships are better, stronger, deeper. This is the feedback that we get from the students. Like, this is changing my life and my business results and my sales. That's what's so fun about this. Now we move into module 5, and Claire always kids me about this because it's one of my 1,000 favorite subjects. telling the right story at the right time for the right reasons. I sat down some years ago. I wrote a book about this. I got so interested in it, and I've never stopped learning about this. I just literally read a book on the science of storytelling last week. So I am still learning about this. And this module is incredibly important. One of the things you'll hear us say in this module is that stories are your most powerful tool of influence, full stop. If that's true, and Claire and I designed this very deliberately to be smack dab in the middle of this experience because it's so important. We want to really sink into it. We actually do another supplemental sales book club on this topic because it's that important. And so we really understand as you're moving through your sales process, how do you collect? So capture, distill, and tell your best stories such that you influence the right decision-making process for your customers and prospects. Module 5 unpacks that. Module 6, realize where we are, folks. We're moving left to right through our sales process. One of the things you're going to find yourself doing as you move deeper and deeper into the sales process and you draw these clients towards you is you're going to be doing a lot of presentations. So we talk about presenting like a pro or presenting with panache, which is a great French word that means dashing style. You're the presentation that everyone's thinking about on the weekend when they're thinking about back to their busy week. They're thinking about your meetings. They're thinking about your presentations. Well, okay, how do we make that happen? Once again, it's right at our fingertips. We just need the skills and disciplines. We need the practice. We need the tools. So we break it into the 4 P's of great presentations. And once again, as with every module, this stands on a lot of research from Carmine Gallo, who studied the presentation secrets of Steve Jobs. Our job as faculty at Kellogg is to unpack and interpret the research and then embed it in tools, codify that in the skills and disciplines and tools, and equip you with those tools. You don't have to invent the wrench. We've got the wrench based on research. We know how to design that wrench, but now you have to learn how to use that and develop it for yourself. Module 7, notice where we are. We're moving into the close, right? So we're now at the last stage of the close of the contact phase, rather, of the sales process. What happens here? Lots of things are happening all at once. You're often bringing teammates with you. One of the things that we actually invented with our partners at Google is a framework that we have here embedded in the course called Team Selling for Impact. We sort of invented it on the fly with some work we were doing at Google years ago, where we realized in a sort of flash of inspiration that Google is such a big, strong company that they're rarely by themselves in a room with a prospect. It's always Claire and Craig or Claire and Craig and Marie. There's multiple Googlers. Well, that gets complex. So we invented a framework called Team Selling for Impact that is based on Teams research, and we teach that in Module 7. One of the other things that happens is deals get stuck. I have deals that are stuck right now. Every salesperson has deals that are stuck. What do? What are the moves? What are the expert moves to get deals unstuck? And then we talk about closing. And we talk about, I'm going to leave it mysterious. We talk about it in a very, very unusual way. And I'm just going to leave that mysterious. You'll have to discover that in Module 7. Module 8, we've now moved from, we started with preparation, we moved through contact. Now we're in the phase we call scale. How do we scale our impact? How do we scale ourselves? How do we scale our teams? Well, more tools. How do we go above and beyond? That's a tool. How do we delight clients with something we call the Client Delight Index? We build a tool so we know what clients want, when they want it, how to surprise and delight them. And as Claire mentioned, this is based on some research, well, lots of research, but research from Chip and Dan Heath, who wrote a book we love called The Power of Moments. How do you create moments that are meaningful and memorable? We've embedded that here in Module 8 and with our sales book club. And then Module 9, we really start talking about how do we give and get performance feedback? How do we structure our conversations for practice and feedback? How do we optimize what most or all sales organizations have, which we call the weekly one-on-one? How do we optimize those meetings with our leaders, or if we are the leader, with our people, thereby building what the Kellogg Sales Institute calls a strong, positive, and powerful sales culture? All those words have different meanings. We talk about that here in Module 9. And then finally, in Module 10, we are at the end and we put the toolkit into action. So we look back across this 10-week journey at all of the knowledge, skills, and disciplines that we've gained, and we do a review of our inventory. You're building an inventory of tools that codify skill, discipline, and knowledge. And then we start to turn your attention to what we call teaching it forward. The best way to truly embed knowledge, skill, and discipline and become an elite performer is to teach others. And so we have a final tool that we leave you with, which is called Teach It Forward. And folks, if sales is helping people make progress in their lives, that should too be all of our mission. And so we want to inspire you at Module 10 to go out in the world and teach others this amazing stuff. As Claire says, this is not rocket science. It is science. It's not rocket science. And so how might you teach a young university grad who's going to interview for her first job how to sell herself? Well, guess what? You have this incredible toolkit now that you can use to teach her, your fellow colleagues. And we really we end the course by helping you teach it forward, set the right goals, and really continue to build on your journey to get 10 times better. Module 10 is maybe the end of the course, but it's the beginning of the journey because we're all still learning this art and science of selling. So that's I hope quick but a little gives you a little bit of color about what this darn thing is that we are having so much fun with. And this is just a look at a few. This is just a few. There are over 30 tools. This is just, a dozen or so of the tools that we talk about and build together in the course. I've mentioned some of this. I've jumped past many of them, and there are many, many more. And then there are activities that you'll do with each other, with your program leaders, that will really help you codify and practice these things over time.
So the fun thing about this course is that over the course of nearly 2 years, we have had a really sustained mix of half and half, where half of the cohort ends up being people with 15 years or more of experience, and half the cohort ends up being 15 years or less. If you have never sold before, this is going to be a jump into the deep end. It is for you, though. You can do this very successfully. It may just take a little bit more, this may introduce you to vernacular and the type of selling vocabulary that you aren't intimately familiar with because you're not living it day in, day out. But you can definitely take this course no matter if you are just starting out or if you are 25 years in. Those who are 25 years in often say that this course acts as a forcing function. It breaks them out of autopilot. Why are they doing what they do? This course helps them think about that very deliberately. So I wanted to mention that we have a relatively brand new course that is 5 months long as opposed to 2.5 months long, called Kellogg Sales School, a professional certification in sales. It's longer, it requires a more dedicated student, but it does have 2 weeks in the middle of it of industry specific knowledge. So technology, healthcare, entrepreneurial selling. So if you have never sold before and are looking to land that first job, that is another really fantastic alternative for you. So that also comes from Emeritus. Check that out. What is the feedback structure and how will you be so there are a couple, first of all, your program leaders who I mentioned will give you feedback on many of your assignments. They will come to you and make suggestions for where there's room to grow in the assignment and where you really hit it on the mark. And assessed completion. So there are a series of mandatory assignments, and you have to complete a certain number of assignments to receive the certificate and be an official graduate. I will say that we all understand that there are weeks that get very busy at work. There may be a week where you're coming up and you're going on vacation soon. The assignments, there's flexibility here, team. You can turn in assignments a little bit behind the curve, maybe reach out to your program leader, let them know that as an assignment might be coming late. As long as you finish them, you will get that certificate of completion. We also had a great question, Craig, and I'd love for you to know, what is the difference between this course and the Coursera course? And I gave a really quick, snappy, in short, there are the number of tools that we created for this course goes way beyond what is in Art of Sales Coursera. We have live interaction, not only with Craig and our program leaders, but you get to dig in on discussion boards and learn from your fellow students. You get a certificate from Kellogg, and the content, I'm leaving it short to say the content, we go so much deeper, but that is the case.
Yeah, what I would say is, and we're very, very clear about the differences, and we designed all of them very differently. So there's the Art of Sales on Coursera, there's Kellogg Mastering Sales and Kellogg Sales School on Emeritus. And so the main difference of the Coursera course is, I'm going to use an analogy. It's like the movie of sales. You just let it wash over you. It's me. And I love the course, but it's me just talking about, here's what sales is about. Here's generally the sales process. And here are some skills and disciplines that you should acquire as you become a salesperson. So it's a very light touch on sales. One of the reasons that we were so excited to partner with Emeritus is what Claire just said. Emeritus allows us to go much, much deeper. And so we do all of that we do in the Coursera times about 20. We're really digging into, okay, what are the granular knowledge, skill, and discipline? How do you practice it? How can you interact on this? How do you build tools? How do you interact with the program leaders and each other and us? None of that is available in the Coursera course, and it has its own use, but that's not available. And as I have gone through the years of teaching MBA and executive MBA students, it's become so much more clear to me, the learning process and what people actually need. And adult learners like all of you and us, and me included, we need interaction. We need more depth and foundation. And so when Emeritus approached Kellogg a couple of years ago and said, we'd really, really like to work on sales, we jumped at the chance to partner together because it allows us to just offer you something of tremendously more value. And as Claire suggests, we've just done it again with Emeritus because we were very conscious. This course has been incredibly popular. The new course, Kellogg Sales School, is just starting out, but signs are very positive that that's going to be incredibly popular. And so we're doing what we wanted to do, which is truly help people make progress in their lives. Hope that helps. And I posted the link, Prashant, for you. Yeah, Thiago, more than welcome.
I also wanted to hop into two great questions, which is essentially, what is the mix of self-paced versus cohorts and collaborative learning? And so there are a couple things that we wanted to do here. One, we wanted to be able to meet sellers where they were at in their individual days. So that the majority of this course is you taking the time to dig into this content when it fits your schedule. That is the episodes dropping. Those are the pre-recorded videos. And then of course the assignments that you can complete individually or with team members who are helping you take this with yourself. But throughout, you have a live discussion board with the people in your cohort. So there is throughout, even though you may be watching a video by yourself, if you post a question to your discussion board, there's going to be lots of rich, meaningful conversation. Additionally, there is the opportunity to connect live weekly with your program leaders who are going to help you with those assignments, who are going to help you move lessons in the videos to, again, your daily sales motions and how this works for you. So it's a solid mix of meeting you where you're at in your individual pace. Also, of course, lots of opportunity to network and connect with people in the industry. One other question that I'd love for you to touch upon, Craig, is we got two questions about, like, how do we transform when this course is on our computer? Like, how can we make this claim?
Oh my gosh, what a great question. Let me offer some thoughts. This is great. So first of all, I should admit to you all that I am a big fan of the Zoom world. I know that's probably a counterintuitive opinion coming from me, but it's actually a point of view. We have some evidence emerging that there are some distinct advantages to the online world. Now, so agree, disagree, as we say at Kellogg, you can opt in or opt out of my point of view on that. Either one is fine. But how can we promise transformation online? Look, you've got to meet us halfway. And so this is not easy. This is not an easy art and science and craft to learn. It's not easy being elite at anything. If we were teaching chess or parenting or leadership or software coding, and you wanted to become the best of the best, you got to meet us halfway. But the online world offers us this really unique mix of this series of videos that's coming at you day by day, week by week, that is founded in research that helps you build the tools. You are then taking those tools, working on them yourselves. So that's what in learning we call that's actually 2 spaced repetitions. You watch the video, that's a spaced repetition. Then you start working on the tool yourself. That's a spaced repetition. Then you work with a peer. Then you work with program leaders. Then you come to the Sales Book Club live webinars and you do it all over again the next week. That's at least 5, depending on your learning style, 5 spaced repetitions. You are embedding this. This is how the best of the best learn. How do we know that? How can I say that? Because I work in the top business school in the world. And 10 years ago, I worked at another top business school in the world, the University of Chicago. And so we know this about adult learning. And when we got together with Emeritus and we looked at the way that they could help us embed this learning in the online world, we said, other than just being able to shake your hand in a room, that is absolutely the best design for learning anything. So I hope that helps. I mean, there's just all kinds of different ways this connects to learning theory, and I'll spare you the deep sort of adult learning pedagogical reasons for designing it this way. But suffice it to say, that spaced repetition, as long as you meet us halfway and you do that work, you will transform yourself, regardless of whether you're sitting in your living room or you're in a physical classroom with me. I'll give you just one more example that occurs to me. So I'm teaching at Kellogg this quarter. So right now on Thursday night. So last night here in the States, it's morning. In Thursday night, I taught my MBA class and we are allowed to be back in a room. Well, guess what? My fellow professor and I designed a 10-week experience, which is what an MBA course is. This is just like an MBA course, a 10-week experience. We designed it half in the room and half online. And we did that for a reason. And the students kind of pushed back on us and said, if we can be together, why wouldn't we be together? And we said, because there's some things we can do online that we can't do in the room. It'll move faster and more efficiently. And they were like, huh. And guess what? We just completed week 6 and they're going, you guys were right. This is super cool.
I'm going to step into the spotlight here and just call us on a time check. We have about 3 minutes left to our session here today. And I did just want to call everyone's attention to the next steps. If you're interested in learning more or you want to get connected with an academic advisor, we have a team here with us on the call today. And to get connected, simply go over to the course landing page using that QR code there or the various links that we've shared across the chat box there. You can open up your chat. You'll see links in your preferred language, whether you're Spanish speaking, Portuguese speaking, or English. So find the link that best corresponds with your language preference right there in the chat. Go on over to the course enrollment page here, and you can schedule a one-on-one appointment with one of our advisors. They'll help walk you through the registration and enrollment process and help you out with any of those logistical details you'd like to know about, dates, times, scheduling in your time zone, and certainly any of those course policy details, assessment criteria, that type of thing as well. So get connected. We want to make sure that that high level of relationship building and support begins right here, right now with today's session and with getting you connected with an academic advisor. So please go on over to the link there if you haven't done so already. If you don't yet have an advisor, you can reply all to that email and we'll get you connected that way as well. Back over to you, Claire and Craig, for any closing remarks, thoughts, words of wisdom that you'd like to share with us today.
Thanks for your hour of time is very valuable, and we really appreciate you listening and participating. I sure hope to see you in the first Sales Book Club webinar. We really have a heck of a lot of fun. But regardless of whether we see you in the course or not, go help people make progress in their lives every day in every meeting. And our best to you. Thank you.
Team, couldn't have said it better than Craig, so I'm not going to try too hard, but my hope is that we accomplish the purpose of informing you and arming you with everything you needed to feel excited about this course, and that you've achieved the benefit, that you feel ready. You feel ready to take this next step. We are so grateful for your time, and this was a super engaging chat. Loved it. Loved every minute. Thank you.
I'll echo those gratitude as well. Thank you all for joining here today. So with that, we are going to sign off here today with a heartfelt good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good day to all of you from around the globe.